Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, October the 18th. We are going live at 9 a.m. in Toronto time for our month of October Security Awareness Month. We have another guest here today, Alex Plotkin. It's a very special day for me. It's my twin's birthday, so quite happy today in the morning. And Alex, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do for a living.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Plotkin. I'm the CEO of Cyberwall. Cyberwall is a cybersecurity services provider for SMB, small and medium businesses. We provide full managed cybersecurity services and also consulting. And we specializing in small businesses, and that's why we're going to talk about that today.
This is the topic for today, small, medium businesses. I think there's a lot of overlook on the small companies and medium companies as well. They are, in many cases, are very focused on what they need to do and not a lot of the time looking on cybersecurity. And as everyone has a presence online and everybody doing their work on computers in one way or another, it's quite important. So, Alex, let's start from the idea who need cybersecurity and who doesn't, and what do you see from your perspective?
So I truly believe everyone needs some cybersecurity protection. Uh, Lawyers used to use the term business reasonably. So it's also depend what kind of information you have, what kind of effort you need to put in place if you were attacked and all your business is down. If you want to man show and you have your backup, you can say, okay, if something happened, I just buy a new laptop, recover from the backup, I'm good to go. I don't want to do anything. But if you're a company that have 200 people on the manufacturing floor and cyber attacks stop your production, your manufacturing, and your manufacturing is down for 2 weeks, and you comparing the damage that was caused to your business and the cost to prevent it, it's obviously the prevention is much. Uh, I don't want to say use cheaper, but it's much more advisable in this case. It's better to prevent that to deal in instant recovery.
It's an interesting point because you mentioned a manufacturer of 200 people. What if I'm a sushi shop with 10 people working there and I decided that I want to do takeout and maybe not just takeout, maybe also I can order food and I want to do everything online. So if my website is down, now suddenly nobody can order sushi.
It's not just order sushi. It's funny because one of my clients is, since we're not talking names, it's in the food business, and they came to us after a cyber attack wiped all information from their server. That's why they came to us. As it took them too long to recover, and the cost to the business being down for almost 2 weeks to recover all the information. Today, so many things automated. There are so many things connected to the internet, right? If you don't have your software, if you cannot charge your clients, if you cannot manage your order coming to you, your business is down. It doesn't matter if you one man shop or 100 people shop. If you cannot receive orders from the people for the food, if you cannot charge your clients, your business is down. And that's what happened to them. That's why they came to us, and they're actually a small company. They just calculated how much it cost them to be down for a week until they recover everything, and they just came to us, and now they we hope we provide them enough protection so it will not happen.
So if you're watching the show and you have a small business or medium business and you think cybersecurity is important, or if not yet, I hope you will by the end of the show, think about this, how much money you make a month, how much money you make a day, and what will happen if you cannot make the money for one day because of multiple reasons. This could be your server is down, your website is down, your laptop is down, your database is down. Again, it's really dependent on the business, and we cannot dive into every business, but there's enough people that can help you to understand how you can do this. So this could be a very interesting justification, just how much money you make a day and what happened if you cannot make this money because of XYZ reasons. Now, let's start and maybe dive into different things. As a business, I have my core business. So let's kind of stay on sushi. I like sushi. So I'm creating sushi, I'm creating food. My business is the website. But beside the website, I also have people that work in the restaurant that
That's right.
I call it like a corporate security, and then we have the product security in this case, and they're a bit different. So, what are the different things that the people need to think about it to protect the employees that just working there without the product? In this case, it's a website, could be something else as well, or in your example, it was a manufacturing. We have the manufacturing part, but we also have the people day by day that log into the laptops using their email,
That's right.
potentially taking the laptops to vacation with them.
So I think let's stick to the statistics and don't use my personal opinion. Statistically, 7% of the cyber attacks starting with email, and statistically, there is always someone in the company who will click on the wrong URL, will open the wrong file, and that's how more than 70% of cyber attacks started. Right. So if you don't protecting your emails, and I talk a lot to small business owners, managers, they will say, "Oh, we have Office 365, or we have a Gmail suite." It's really good products, but unfortunately, they don't provide you if you go with the basic license, they don't provide you enough cybersecurity protection. So there's additional layer of protection you need to put to protect your employees, to protect your own business, right? And we see statistics that roughly 2 to 3% of the emails that's coming to our clients have or malicious code or have URL that's bringing to the website with some JavaScript that will be downloaded automatically to the laptop the moment they get to this website. So assume every 2%, about 2% of your emails actually want to harm you. Okay, and I'm not talking about the spam that's wasting time with the employees. That's your problem, right? Not me as a cybersecurity person. Your people wasting another 10% of the time going through the emails that suggesting to buy something before the holidays, or that because today it's a great discount on some dog food, right? I'm talking about the files that contain malicious code. So that's the first thing. And let's say this first layer of protection is failed. What's the next one? Next one is the laptop or computer they work on. So we're supposed to have something that's protect our laptop or our computer or our server, right? And the industry made a huge leap. We started from antivirus and then anti-malware, and now I believe if you have something less than EDR, right, it's endpoint detection response. You will be locked in our industry. So you're supposed to have some protection in the laptop that's not only will identify the viruses, but also will know what to do about it. Okay, and not just something that's try to protect it to move to the next laptop, right? To isolate this machine, and that's just the second layer of protection you have. Now we're talking about when someone coming to the employees and try to attack them. What about employee who wanted to open another sushi store and want to take all your recipes, right? And just to copy them on the USB file to go away to the next door to open their own sushi, and they already have all the recipes, the prices, and everything. So it's not just attack from outside; it's also possibility that one of the employees want to steal your own information. That's how we come to what's called DLP. And there's layer on the layer on the layer, and each layer has its own purpose in
So
the chain.
if you want to simplify it and try to create like kind of a crawl, like walk, run, what will be the beginning? And many people always ask, do I need to, you mentioned antivirus, EDR system. Can I buy Malwarebytes? Can I buy Bitdefender? Can I buy something that it's off the shelf? Or do I need like a central management to do this? And if again, maybe if I'm a 5 people shop, I can, or maybe I have 20 people shop, I need a central management. What do you see? What will be your advice?
So those are just like your logistics. If I'm 1 or 2 man shop and I don't have someone who will watch me 24/7, probably Microsoft Defender, especially if you go to the higher license that provide additional capabilities, it's more than good enough. But if you 50-man shop, you also want to make sure that this virus is not moving from one laptop to another laptop. You want to have someone who is watching this attack 24/7. So it's literally go up. The level of security you're supposed to have is depend also on the what kind of information you have, right? We didn't talk about what kind of sensitive information I have. If I'm a healthcare professional who has very sensitive information about my patients, my clients, it's one level of protection. If I am the construction guy who has the only thing I have on my laptop is invoices to my other to my clients who are businesses, at least there is no regulation that's require me to protect this information. So there is also different level of regulation that's require me to do things. If you're a healthcare professional, it's not what you want to do, it's what you have to do to comply with regulation in the healthcare, right? The same apply if you financial institution and maybe you 10 people credit union. There are particular things you need to do in order to receive cybersecurity license. And in order to have your financial institution license, you have to have cybersecurity insurance. So there is a chain of things that happening in order to you to do the business. So yes, you may be just 10 people, a credit union or small branch of something. You have to do particular things. And if you're a small construction company that says, listen, the only thing I need to know is the name of my clients who are businesses, so I don't protect it even for any privacy regulation, now it's just a cost of how much it will cost you if all this information just disappeared.
Okay.
So it's literally you need to look into this scenario, what can happen to your information, to your data, to your computers, and decide what you want to do. Unless, and that's the big no here, is what industry you are. Because frankly, when I go to the companies that's in regulated industries like financial, healthcare, government agencies, I see a lot of effort. Okay, they have no choice. They put a lot of effort. They complain it's cost a lot, but they do it. If I'm going to the companies that's no under any regulation, usually they do close to nothing. Okay, I still see company who are running the antivirus they just bought in Best Buy, and they think it's good enough because that's what they do for 20 years, right? They don't understand that things change. They did it 20 years ago because the IT guy told them 20 years ago that's good enough, and they continue to do that. There is a big shift in the market. I see that big clients who receive services from small businesses come to these small businesses and say, hey, we know you're not under any regulation, but we under regulation. And one of the things that regulator asks us to do is to verify that our supply chain is also secure. So you, as our vendor, should prove to us that you do everything that's business reasonable to protect our information that's reside on your servers, and that you will not be the gate that the bad guy comes to our network. So I started to see small companies that started to do things not because they want, but because their clients want. It's funny enough, I can see it in law firms that actually there is no regulation that's required law firm to do a lot of cybersecurity. But the clients come to them and say, "Hey, you want to be my attorney? You have to show me that you protect this information, that my proprietary information. So please show me that you have SOC 2 compliance, or at least ISO 27, or at least you work according to the NIST framework, right?" So now clients come to the companies and require them to do something to protect information.
Great.
That's the shift I started to see.
Thank you. We'll do a quick pause. So for everyone that's watching right now, feel free to ask questions if you have any questions. If you have questions later on, you can find both me and Alex online on LinkedIn or other locations. Also, I have a link here that you can see and understand what's coming on this week, and later on I'm going to post what's coming next week as well. We'll talk tomorrow about how hard it is to find talents. We'll talk on Thursday about intellectual property. We'll talk on Friday about how to start talking in the conferences. Very, very cool guests and very, very interesting topics. You can also find here the two podcasts I am running, one with Dimitri Reidman, Security Architecture Podcast, and one by myself, Cyber Inspiration, about the founder story and motivation of them to start their own company. Alex, I want to ask you if there is any like a self framework or self assessment that people can do to understand what's happening before they reach to someone, and probably without a lot of knowledge, somebody is trying to sell them something they don't need. Can they do their own research? Can they do self-assessment to at least get an idea how potentially screwed they are? Excuse my French.
So the first place I would start is insurance companies, and I will explain. Right now, before insurance company provided with insurance, with business, regular business insurance for liabilities, and also they provided with cybersecurity insurance, you have to fulfill the form, which asks you ISO different forms from 1 page to 5 pages, and they ask the questions. So actually, these questions is what you need to have in order to comply with the cybersecurity requirements from this insurance company. And if you answer yes to everything, that you have all this protection, you better have it. Because I did see the cases when uh, client called insurance company, say, hey, I was compromised, all my data down, I need you to send the team. And the team came and checked what they have in place, and actually they found there was no MFA, multi-factor authentication, to connect to the company VPN. So insurance company refused to pay for the services, and also refused to pay for the ransomware. So if you're saying yes, you better have it. And that's where you should start. If your insurance company asks you, do you have a multi-factor authentication in your VPN? You should have it. If your insurance company asks you, do you have your daily backups? You should say yes. If they ask you, your daily backup, is it in your network, or you take it to a separate network or separate location? That's the good hint that you probably should do that. Okay. Uh, do you have email security, right? Do you have additional layer of protection on your email? Do you have additional layer of protection on your endpoints? There are a number of things that I believe basics today, and we discussed it in the past. Everybody should have backup. Everybody should have complicated passwords, right? Everybody should have MFA. Every single place they can have MFA. So that's, I believe, where you should start.
Okay, I have two questions. I start with first one. Cyber insurance. Is this like a magic silver bullet? If I have cyber insurance, that I don't need to do anything else?
Okay. So in order to get cyber insurance,
Okay.
you already need to do A, B, C, D, right? So the cyber insurance will never provide insurance to someone who is negligent in protecting their own business. So the same form with the same questionnaire is to validate you do the basics, at least the basics, and you should do at least these basics to at least to feel they're protected. Now, when I talk to small businesses, they usually have no clue what to do if their data was compromised, or if their data is encrypted, right? So, they tell the IT guy, okay, now you deal with it. But the IT guy never thought this day will come. He is not prepared for this day, and he doesn't know what to do. Okay, like, I'm sure the IT guy, and that's what I see, like in 95% of the cases in small businesses, he doesn't think to call insurance company, because that's not what technical people used to do. Technical people go and try to fix it. They don't think they need to call to the insurer. But actually, if there is a data compromise, if there is a ransomware in your company, you should call insurance company. And insurance company will tell you, here's our attorney who will help you. And why it's important for you, because from this point, everything that's related to the response, this incident response, if your attorney on these emails and your attorney on these calls, it's all privileged information. It's very important for your business, if you don't want the information about everything that's going on to be outside in the public, to make this information privileged. And that's why you need this attorney. An insurance company, the moment you get your insurance policy, there is a person and the contact on your insurance policy that will say, in case of incident, call this person.
So basically, you're creating like instant response procedures, what and what need to do and who you respond. It's a very, very important part. I definitely agree about this. So I understand. Thank you. let's talk about multi-factor authentication and let's talk
Okay.
about identity in general. In the past, majority of the time, we all had Active Directory. After a certain number of people, probably 10, 15 people had Active Directory. Right now, it's everything in the cloud, and not everybody using Microsoft. I have many, many customers and clients, friends that I know that use Google as their main, what is there? Like, how do you solve the identity part? How do you mandating the unified, even multi-factor authentication or identity or logins?
So the market, like you just said, moving from on-prem with Active Directory to mostly the cloud. And there are a number of products on the market that actually can do user identity, user management that's cloud-based, and they cater to exactly these kind of companies, small companies with 10, 20, 30 users that will receive identity management services, at least on the level of Microsoft Active Directory. And Microsoft Active Directory, it's good for the companies on prem with a lot of Microsoft product. I know companies that have no Microsoft, like at all, right? The 10 people in the company going with a MacBook, and the server they have is Linux. Active Directory in their case will not help. So there are particular, I, I, I don't know if I can say the names, but there are a number of products that can do exactly the same work, or maybe even better, to manage the identity of the users and to provide multi-factor authentication. So the move to the cloud is not preventing you to do everything right. You still can use your users, their devices to manage their password and also force them to use multi-factor authentication.
Okay, great, makes sense. So use your current email, current identity provider, understand more what you can do with them, and leverage this. Not always jump and try to kind of create a Tetris from or like a Lego from different vendors. Try to understand
That's right.
first what do you have with your current provider, and in some cases you may be better to increase the license with your current provider because you may get more for the buck versus go and try to patch
And
and
it's
kind of
applied to
connect.
both the Microsoft and 365 to the Google workspace, whatever they call now. They change the
Yeah.
name every year. Uh, and there are additional tools like Jump Club. Just an example. There is another 3 or 4 tools right now on the market. So you can use them for identity management, even if you don't have Active Directory. It's not excuse anymore. 2 years ago, it was hard for us to find something. Not 2 years, but 4 years ago, it was hard to find how to manage users if you don't have Active Directory. Today is not an issue.
Sounds good. I agree about this. Great. Alex, anything else you want to add? I know we could probably talk about cybersecurity for SMB for a very, very long time, but
I think the
yeah,
main thing for cybersecurity for SMB is in a big corporation, there's usually technical people whose responsibility is to provide protection to the companies. The company is 200, 300, 500 people. They already have technical people. So these people know that at least they need protection, and sometimes they understand they need help. When you go to the small companies of 10, 20 people, they usually don't have technical people. It's maybe a small accounting office or pizza shop, right? Or healthcare provider. They don't know what they don't know. They sometimes even don't know that they compromised. We saw one client that we couldn't even find for how long he has a backdoor on his computers because he had no protection. We couldn't find any log file. Like, no small business collect logs and store them for a year, like the regulation on the financial industry, right? So we couldn't find anything. Everything beyond 7 days was wiped. I believe one of the main problem is the kind of education to the small businesses, so they understand why they need to have the protection because they even don't know what's going on outside. If you're accountant, you're focusing on what you do. Sometimes you hear in the news that there is additional someone who was compromised or ransomware wiped another company, and you say, it's a big guys. I am a small 10-man shop or 20-man. It's
yep.
never happened to me. I even cannot say client. It's a company I know, a manufacturing facility, about 100 people. We had 2 meetings. I was trying to explain. It started about 4 years ago. Why? And I found what he has. All his Windows were outdated, no proper protection, no email security, even backups not done properly. And I was trying to explain to the company owner that there's many things they need to do, otherwise they will be compromised and the whole manufacturing will be down. And he told me, listen, with just 100 people, the cyber security, the cyber attackers go after Boeing, after Lockheed Martin, not about us. And guess what? 2 months later, he called me that everything is down. And I said, okay, you told me you have a backup. Just recover from the backup. He says, yeah, the backup was on the same server that was compromised and encrypted. So they had to call the company that literally just restored all infrastructure. They were more than 2 weeks down. Insurance didn't cover anything because he didn't comply with any insurance company requirements, so he had to pay everything from his own pocket. And then I come to him, and he called me a number of times to ask my advice, and I was happy to help. I told him what I think, even he's not my client. And then I said, okay, now you understand you need to improve your protection. He says, listen, we just spent so much money to buy new servers, to buy the laptops, and it just happened to me. So probably it's not going to happen to me for the next 2 or 3 years. So I'm good for now. Let's talk in about a year and a half. He called me again after 4 months.
Oh my God.
Right? And this time they have backup, and they were down only 3 days. But it shows you that even people who experience cyber attack, they still don't understand that prevent is better than recover. That's, I believe, the main kind of think that if we want to help this industry, that's where we need to put our focus, to educate these people in SMB that it's not just big companies, not big banks, it's also small companies. People after this, there is always someone who after the information or financial information or healthcare information, or just to try to get some money from them for decryption, right? So that's my
Sounds good.
sense.
I like prevent is better than recover. Alex, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and I hope
It
people
was
learn
pleasure
from
talking to you.
this session today as well. Awesome.